Moving on to topic number 6. This is a nice topic I like here. To move on to this quickly because I want to see OBJ in a Patriots uniform. But yeah, I think this is one of the things where the talk has been around that the Patriots have been pursuing a number one wide receiver aggressively, and they have made plays for Julio Jones, but nothing has played out because I really don't think Atlanta's really trying to trade him for anything but a boatload of stuff, obviously, and the Patriots don't want to give that up. But the next guy they've really been targeting is Odell Beckham Jr., and whether they target him now or try to get him in free agency, which he signed up until 2023. I was just checking that before the show. But I think it's one of those things where I think OBJ wants to come to New England, and I think New England wants OBJ. It's just, are you willing to give up J.C. Jackson to get him? And that's the news out there, is that the Browns want J.C. Jackson.
Brennan, you're not going to like this. OBJ, an awesome receiver. He's awesome, okay? A little bit of a diva. Most of the great receivers are, okay? If I am the Patriots and I am trying to groom a rookie quarterback like Mac Jones, sometimes you bring a guy like OBJ in who just wants the ball because he's so competitive. Sometimes the young quarterbacks try to force it into him. Kind of like Randy Moss used to be the same way. Terrell Owens used to be the same way. If the Pats still had Tom Brady, I'd be all in. I'd say trade J.C. Jackson right now. But they don't have that. You know, they have Cam, but Cam's probably not going to be with the Pats next year. You're looking at this not just this year, but long term. That's my biggest worry with OBJ. He is a $15 million cap, I believe, for this year and the next 2 years, you know, essentially the next 3 years, including this upcoming year. So that's a pretty good hit, but that's also not the worst hit as far as the talent that he brings to the table. But because of their quarterback situation, I don't know if he's the right fit right now. Obviously, the talent is there, but if you're expecting Mac Jones to start, you know, say midway through the season and develop as a quarterback, I don't know if OBJ is the guy you want in the huddle with him.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you, but here's the other side of that as well. I think, first off, if you can get him now, you know what I mean, once he gets healthy for J.C. Jackson, I think that it's a good trade because I still think J.C. Jackson developing. I think he is going to be one of the best corners in the league, and I'd love to keep him. But I think we've all been saying that the Patriots have needed a number one wideout for many of years. Ever since we've lost Randy Moss and now Julian Edelman, we really haven't had a number one wideout. So, I mean, we've been trying to pursue to get one. I think if you can get this guy at the right price without giving up many draft picks, I think you can go ahead and do this. Remember, this is a firmer first-round pick that is still first-round pick talent. And I think one of the things is I think he still has plenty of upside, to be honest. I could see OBJ playing until he was like 35 or 36, to be honest, because I still think he's got that freak-like talent, and I think he's going to recover back from this injury like nothing. I've seen videos of him running already, and he looks great. I think one of those things that we were talking about with your Mac Jones thing is I agree with you. You know, you don't want like the Terrell Owens type situation where he comes in and he's bullying Romo into trying to throw him the ball. But I don't think he's like a Terrell Owens. You know what I mean? I think he's a lot more personable. I think he's a locker room guy, somebody that you can get along with and somebody that you want to hang out with, to be honest. So I'm a big fan of OBJ. So I could see him and Mac Jones getting along great, to be honest. And I think that relationship could help. But I think it's also one of those things where Mac Jones was just throwing to Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. Well, this guy is better than both of those guys. So it's like one of those things where I think, you know, arguably Mac Jones has already been thrown to some great guys. So I think this would just be like throwing to some guys he was just playing with, honestly, but a little bit better. And I think one of those things where, like you said, sometimes a young quarterback will be like, oh, man, I'm just going to throw it up. Well, this is the ultimate throw it up guy. Like him and Randy Moss, there it is right there. This is the ultimate throw it up guy. He's going to bail you out of a lot of bad throws. But I totally get what you're saying going forward. But I think it's, like I said, if it's the right price, I think it's one of those things where it could help us out and it could help us out for going with our young quarterback for the future.
Yeah, my biggest thing is, you know, and the Patriots will have a better handle on this than anybody, any one of us knowing, you know, if he would fit. The problem is if it does become a problem where he's disrupting the development of Mac Jones, number one, you've given up a great corner in J.C. Jackson. And then number two, we talked about the cap hit. They can't just cut him. I mean, he cost $15 million against the cap. So there's kind of no out. You know, when they went and got Randy Moss, he didn't have that kind of contract where, you know, he comes in, if he was a problem, they could just cut him. You know, he actually kind of had to earn the contract that they ended up giving him after that first season, that record-setting season that he had with the Pats in 2007. So, you know, there's kind of all those factors. You know, again, the guy is unbelievable. We were just watching this one-handed catch, obviously, and he's had several of those in his career, not just on the practice field, but obviously in games. But it is a risk. So I think at the end of the day, the Pats probably aren't going to do it. But if they do, one, it wouldn't shock me, and two, it's going to be a lot of fun watching that guy down in Gillette Stadium. So we'll see what happens there.